What's good, YouTube? Cardfight can't hear AQUA Life Baby. You already know. And as I said in the previous video, guys, I'm going to update Black Steve's Nova Grappler Stride deck. He wanted to get this out to you guys. You know, his take on the deck for the G-Set 4 format as it is right now. You know, the last time we saw it had like Azure Dragon and some other things, but what we added to the deck, well, we added more aspects of control so we can control our opponent's board a little bit better. But we also added some defensive mechanics as far as retaining hand advantage goes, as well as managing counterblast a little bit better. And it's been working out pretty. It's been working out pretty nicely. It still has a very high level of aggression, just with some more control and a bit of a defensive mechanic within the deck, you know, as far as, you know, getting cards in your hand, retaining cards for guarding goes. But he's doing okay with the deck. I still think we have a few question marks surrounding a card in our in the grade 2 lineup, but overall the deck's been doing pretty solid in tournament play. And you know, all it's going to take is some more testing before we really nail it down. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so starter is going to be Run Bowl still. The Ride Horn clone, still very good, still a very good card for the combo plays, because this deck's all about restanding and giving plus 5,000 power. And so whenever something in the same column as this unit restands, this card restands along with it. So you're going to have a very consistent 5k booster in a column. So that's why we definitely run Run Bowl. Very good card. 4 heal triggers because we need to run heals. Still 4 draw triggers. Now, what we did switch up was we went to 6 crit. Obviously, we're running Red Lightning to help manage counterblast, you know, for unflipping purposes. And then we went to 2 copies of Energy Girl. Now, I'm not sure if he wants to increase Energy Girl or not, but she's a very, very good card for the deck. So her ability is at the bow that after she boosts, choose one of your other Nova Grappler rear guards, restand it, and then you shuffle her back into the deck. She's the only card that restands one of your rear guards and does not give them 5,000 power. But you know, she's just teched in here too, because she creates like with Sazanda, you know, you have a field of like Cool Hank, Victor, you know, striding on Victor or just Victor, and you know, her with Sazanda, and you know, you can pump Sazanda up by 10, 20, 30,000 because of Sazanda's skill of gaining 5,000. Well, not 30,000, about 25,000 in total. But it's still a very good card. Really good tech card, and you know, he likes it. It annoys me to death, and I'm not sure if he's going to run more or less because he still feels that the crit triggers should be the most dominant trigger in your deck, and which you should base it around. But you know, that's him. So if you guys have any suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. All right, on to grade 1. All right, guys. So for grade 1, we have our obligatory 4 copies of the Perfect Guard, G Perfect Guard. Again, we need to be able to unflip damage as often as possible in this deck. 4 copies of Stride Enabler, because this deck is based around striding. And then we have 3 copies of Claydol Mechanic and 3 copies of Final Wrench. Claydol Mechanics, again, it's a decent 7k booster who, when it's called, you unflip a damage. So you just straight unflip damage with this card when it's called. It creates a lot of nice combo plays during the turn. And then we have Final Wrench. Anytime something in the same column restands, Final Wrench gives that unit that restood 4,000 power. Not itself, because it says other unit, but it gives that unit plus 4,000 power. Like if you have a Sazanda that restands, Sazanda will be gaining 5,000 power on its own plus 4k from that, so it will be gaining 9,000 power total, making him 18 if stood by the stand trigger, or if it's stood by anything else. That's a 23k column. So definitely a very nice card. Helps add on to the aggression of the deck. All right, on to grade 2. All right, guys. So for the grade 2 line, we're still running Cool Hank. He's one of the foundations of this deck. Magnum Assault clone. So when he's boosted and attacks an opponent's Vanguard at GB1, get to choose. You counterblast 1. Choose one of your opponent's. Choose one of your rear guards, restand it, and give it plus 5,000 power. Again, like I said, one of the foundation pieces to this deck. Is what makes this deck really powerful, really aggressive. 4 copies of Sazanda, another staple, another foundation of the deck. He's like your main attacker in there. So when he restands, he gives himself plus 5,000 power. But like I said, every card that restands in this deck outside of the stand trigger gives it 5,000 power. So he's going to get 10,000 power in total for the majority of him restanding. And so he creates a lot of power columns. You know, you can put your opponent in a deep corner from your first right on. I've been in that position. You know, you have him, you have like a final wrench, you have him being boosted by something, and you also have Victor. And you know, this guy just gets nutty powerful, and you know, with trigger, you know, adding on triggers to that, it gets even worse. So definitely Force Sazanda is another staple to the deck. But then we have 3 copies of Starlight Hedgehog. Now, the reason why he had the idea of Starlight Hedgehog is because, you know, he was looking at me and how I was using Saberflow Sailor. You know, because Saberflow Sailor, like, again, saves my butt a lot of the times with her ability. Off the 4th battle of the turn or more, I get to retire her, draw 2 cards. Not only does she get her attack in while activating Thavas's, while getting the Thavas's Stride Break ability off, but she also gives me 2 cards into my hand. I can't tell you how many times I've drawn into triggers or perfect guards off of her skill, so I have additional shielding for my, you know, for my defensive turn. So he wanted something like that, so this is why he switched over to Starlight Hedgehog. Now what happens is when she's called to the Vanguard or Rearguard circle, you choose one of your other rear guards, and it gets the ability that anytime that unit stands through another of your card effects, through one of the effects of your cards, you get to draw a card and unflip it damage, but you cannot use this ability for the rest of the turn. Meaning that, you know, you'll be restanding him several times, but you're only going to get the unflip and draw once. Unfortunately, if this card stacked, I believe he would be playing it at 4 maybe if that ability did stack, but since the ability does not stack, this is why we have one of those cards in question, because it does give you another open counterblast and an unflip. Or another open counterblast and and you get to draw a card, add a card to your hand. But at the same time, since the ability doesn't stack, I don't know how useful it is. He has played it and it's worked a little bit, but at the end of the day, he feels as if sometimes his aggressive plays kind of got off track with this card. So this card is still in testing. If you guys have tried this card out at all, please let me know how you've done with the card, and if you think he should still keep it in the deck. We're open. You know, he's open to all suggestions. But yeah, he's running 3 of this card. All right, on to grade 3. All right, guys, and for grade 3, he's running 4 copies of Muscle Shriek. So he did switch up from Azure Dragon to Muscle Shriek, just for the purpose that his GB1 ability is you counterblast 2 when he attacks. So you get to choose 2 of your rear guards, stand them, and they gain plus 2,000 power. But the real reason he wanted him in is because of his on ride skill. So his on ride skill is that you counterblast 1, soul blast 1. You choose one of your grade 1 or less rear guards, and then you choose one of your opponent's rear guards that has power equal to or less than the power of the rear guard that you chose on your side of the field, and you retire it. So this guy is pretty much there for getting rid of starters. You know, Judge Bowles, Millis, Andre, cards like that, you know, problematic starters, you know, the degenerate Genesis ones. You know, he wanted to get those cards out. He wanted a way to get rid of those starters. So because this deck didn't have too much, this deck was pretty much let's kill him, let's not have any control from it. We wanted to add in more control so that, you know, he didn't have to deal with things like that. Even in the mirror match, getting rid of that run bowl is key in the mirror match, so you can reduce the amount of effective plays that they have through Rumble's restanding skill. So this is why we wanted to run him, and he's been testing out very, very nicely. He's not a bad backup Vanguard to run, but he's a card you don't want to stay on. You want to get to this guy as fast as possible, Victor. Victor is just, to me, I still think he has one of the best GB2 skills in the game, which is when he attacks, he gains 5,000, then he chooses another unit, restands that, and gains 5,000, and that unit gains 5,000. And his on-stride ability is you counterblast 1 when he attacks, and you choose one of your other rear guards and restand them and gain 5,000. So again, he's just your basic card that lets you restand and get extra attacks with your rear guards, which is why I think this deck is a bit similar to Aquaforce, because your Vanguard needs to be able to work alongside your rear guards. So it's a very nice card. It's the card that you do want to be on. And look, even if you can't stride with this deck, you're still guaranteed to get off an extra attack through Victor's skill, which is really, really good, as long as you're at GB2. All right, and on to stride. All right, guys. So for stride deck, running 2 copies of Vic 10, your standard on hit stride. When he hits, just choose one of your rear guards, restand it, and then give the unit plus 5,000 power. Now, if you do swing with him first, without swinging with another rear guard, you can still give another rear guard plus 5,000 power because you're fulfilling as much of the condition of his effect as possible. So that's just, you know, something to note. So definitely a pretty decent card. Then he's running 2 copies of Meteor Kaiser Tribute. We didn't really have too high of an opinion on this card when he first came out in the Fires collection, but through more play testing, he realized that this card was pretty good. So, you know, what he does is that when one of your other rear guards restands due to an effect from one of your cards, you counterblast 1, and you give that card 2,000 power. Then you choose one of your opponent's rear guards that has power equal to or less than that card, and you retire it. So if you have a lot, so what he likes to do with cards, you know, if there's problematic starters that he needs to get rid of, and he rolled on Victor, you can just stride into this guy and get the same benefit you would off of Muscle Streak by killing a starter. But you know, some people do like to play the grade 2 game, so you know they'll rush you, and you know, let's say he's at 4 damage. Well, he can stride into this guy. He'll use a lot of his counterblast, but he's still going to make his opponent pay for rushing them with a full field by being able to restand multiple times and pop their field. Along with Run Bowl. Again, why Rumble is really essential to the combos, because when another unit stands, just counterblast 1 for hit skill to pop something, and then Rumble is going to restand due to the unit in the same column restanding. You can use his skill again, counterblast another card and pop a card. So as long as you have, as long as you have a column with this and you have 2 open counterblasts, you can pop 2 of your opponent's units, which is why this guy has been very good, and you know, he's been testing out very well for him. And then last but not least, 4 copies of Meteor Kaiser Victor Plasma. Just it's an act ability, not auto, it's an act. So you have to do it before your battle phase. Counterblast 2, Persona Flip, and he loses Twin Drive, but at the end of the battle that he attacked, opponent's Vanguard, you get to just restand him, and you have to drop 2 cards. So definitely a good card, definitely a finisher that Nova Grapplers have needed. Obviously, restanding Vanguards are, you know, finisher type cards. You got to run for this card. This guy helps you end games, especially if you have more open counterblasts. You can do a lot of combos, especially with Victor's skill. You have 3 open counterblasts. You can get 2 attacks from him and then 2 attacks from another rear guard. So definitely good. Also, he works well with the stand trigger. You know, first attack, bam, then restand, then second attack with the boost, and then the stand trigger will go back, and then you can restand another one of your units. So definitely a card that you want to watch out for and run. Very powerful. But that's it for the deck profile, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Look forward to more videos coming out this week. All right, Cardfight King, and I'm out. Peace.